I started talking with it muted again. Hey everyone, it's Paul at the Garland County Library, and I'm here with Mary Zunick, who is the Hot Springs Cultural Affairs Manager with the Hot Springs Area Cultural Alliance. And this, believe it or not, is episode 10 of the ongoing Gallery Walk Talk series. And today is December 1st when we're having this live. It's already the end of 2021 somehow, but this may be our last Gallery Walk program for the year, but we have plans to continue the series next year as well. And our special guest tonight is Zach Dryden of Dryden Pottery. And if you have any questions or comments for Mr. Dryden or Mary here, please don't hesitate to share those, as always. So, Mary, letting you have at it.
Great. Thank you so much, Paul. As always, thank you to the Garland County Library and to Paul for helping us share a little bit more about what's happening here in Hot Springs. There have been people who've lived in Hot Springs for many years that have not been to Gallery Walk. And so I'm going to start tonight with sharing a little bit of information about what's happening during Gallery Walk, which for over 32 years has taken place the first Friday night of every single month. The galleries stay open late. The featured artists are there, or artists represented at the gallery are there. And some of the galleries have refreshments or music. And so it's just a fantastic time to be out enjoying the Hot Springs art scene every month. But of course, this month is very special because it's the Christmas edition of Gallery Walk. So we even have a pop-up gallery to talk about this evening. And I'll mention a few things that are going on at the different galleries. And then when we finish with that, we'll end up on the last gallery, or the last gallery open for Gallery Walk will be Dryden Gallery, and we will get to visit with Zach Dryden. So before we get started on that, though, I'm just going to share with you a few slides of the different galleries and what's happening at those different galleries. So I'm going to share my screen here. Usually there's a little hiccup here by the time I transition over. Let's see, I'm going to do that. And present. Is that okay? I think so. So our first gallery, the galleries are there all year long, but occasionally we have a pop-up gallery at the Grand Lagniappe pop-up gallery at the Grand Lagniappe Tea Room. That's located on West Grand at 811 West Grand. And I'm going to mention the addresses and the information about the different galleries. But all of that information can be found on the Hot Springs Area Cultural Alliance Facebook page, and also the website, hotspringsarts.org. The Grand Lagniappe Tea Room, Lori Arnold and her sister Allison Parsons, Irma Steele Smith, Susie Birch, they all have artwork set up at the Grand Lagniappe Tea Room. And here's a couple of examples. And I believe they even have a contest where you can win that fun ornament that Lori's holding there. There's an ugly sweater contest. So just a little bit of extra fun. In addition to the art from those very talented artists that I mentioned, you can wear your ugly sweater to the Grand Lagniappe Tea Room on West Grand. From there, we will travel on to Esther's Gallery and Gifts, our newest gallery in Hot Springs. It's located adjacent to the warehouse there, where they have a pop-up gallery at 301 and 305 Broadway Street. They're across from the fire station on Broadway. Esther's Gallery has some very talented artists there, and you can see a couple of examples of the artwork that you'll find in Esther's Gallery. But like I said, that's our newest gallery. The warehouse has live music, local artists, diverse exhibits, and food and beverages as well. So we'll move on around the corner to Justice Gallery. Well, this month for Justice Gallery, not only can you see the incredible artwork of Dolores Justice, the gallery owner, featured artwork for this month will be Mark Blaney, Beverly Buys, Donnie Copeland, Mark Elsas, Robin Horn, Sammy Peters, Tony Soldano, Sandra Sell, of course, Gary Simmons and Jean Sparling, local artists, as well as Elizabeth Weber. So that's at Justice Gallery, which is located on 827 Central Avenue. On down the street, you see American Art Gallery. American Art Gallery is located at 724 Central Avenue. And the events at American Art Gallery, they'll be featuring knives by Claude Lambert and wall-out art by various artists, including Jamie Carter, Jimmy Lynch, and of course the Kincaid Studio, Margaret Kipp. And then they have some really interesting Southwest jewelry there too, some beautiful jewelry. And then on down to Legacy Gallery. Legacy Gallery is located at 804 Central Avenue, and you can see gallery owner Beth Geip there with a beloved artist here in Hot Springs, Carol Ketchen. Carol is going to be relocating and moving to the Denver area, and so this will be a going away party. So during Gallery Walk, be sure you stop by Legacy Gallery, see their wonderful collection of artwork, maybe take some home with you, and also be able to visit and say goodbye and farewell and to Carol Ketchen before she heads out of town. On down the street, we have Artist Workshop Gallery. Artist Workshop Gallery this month will feature Joe Wilcox and Diane Morgan, both of Hot Springs Village. And they also have a miniature artist this month that will hold an exhibition in December. You're invited to come and visit with Santa and Mrs. Claus from 7 to 9 a.m. So not only can you do some Christmas shopping, you can see the bearded fellow himself. Then on down to All Things Arkansas at 610. All Things Arkansas is filled with beautiful arts and artisans' work from across the state of Arkansas. So again, a great place to do some Christmas shopping. And not only will you be able to shop, you'll be able to enjoy the music of Ben Carey. He plays every single month, or pretty much every month, at All Things Arkansas. Again, that's located at 610 Central Avenue. Gallery Central, many people remember Gallery Central when it was on down the street closer to Legacy Gallery. Now Gallery Central is located on the first floor of the Waters Hotel, which is 340 Central Avenue. And not only do they have incredible artwork by James Hayes and Janice Polychron, and many other artists, but they also have a wide variety of clothing and gift items at Gallery Central. On around the corner to Whittington Gallery. Whittington Gallery, that's a fun place to be. They have many artists represented, local artists there at Whittington Gallery. And they'll be offering free gift wrap for holiday items purchased. Santa's also going to be stopping in there. The featured artist this month, you can see here on the screen, a name familiar to many in Hot Springs. She lived out of the area for a number of years over in the Memphis area, and she's back and will be the featured artist this month at Whittington Gallery, Deborah Miller. She's joined the gallery, and that's one example of her artwork. She has a series called Sisters, and beautiful, fun images of strong women. Okay, whoops, sorry, I went the wrong way. And then on down from Whittington Gallery, we have Circle Gallery at Emergent Arts. And they invite everyone to join in the Winter Wonderland Art Tree Competition and canned food drive to benefit Project Hope. The Spocity Tappers will be performing. Santa and Mrs. Claus will make an appearance, and you can vote from 5 until 8 p.m. on the Christmas tree competition. So be sure and stop by Emergent Gallery. And then after you finish on down Whittington Avenue, same parking lot as Emergent Arts is Dryden Pottery. And that brings us to our featured artist this evening. And I am going to stop sharing here so we can meet our featured artist, Zach Dryden. There you are. Hi, Zach.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us this evening. Would you just tell us a little bit about your history, Zach, and I will we'll go through some some photos here too. Would you like me to pull up the photos and talk through them? There's some young images of you and some history first, or do you want to just give us a little bit of your background before I dive into the images?
I can talk for a second.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Well, we originally started our business about 75 years ago this year, and started in Ellsworth, Kansas, and moved here 10 years later. I've been here ever since, 65 years.
What brought you to Hot Springs?
There was multiple reasons. One of the main reasons was the interstate had been built next to where he was operating, and his highway traffic dried up.
Oh.
And Hot Springs had promising materials for use in working with, ceramics, and also at the time, Hot Springs was the #1 resort in the country. So it made sense to come here. One thing that there was not much art in the town at that point. It was kind of a risk to come here and do that. I kind of feel like we started the art in this town and have kept it going.
Absolutely, certainly a trailblazer. If you were here before the
My
art.
Yeah.
What was your grandfather's name?
Alan, Jimmy, everybody knew him as Jimmy, and he was all over town. He was forcing his pottery on people, it seemed like. It just would.
Now, what was his background? How did he learn to do pottery?
He kind of crash coursed into it after the war. He had a GI loan, and there was really good clay and volcanic ash in the area where he was living, and he was able to formulate a working system for pottery, digging it right out of the ground in Kansas. But he crash coursed at University of Chicago in Illinois, and him and the professor in about 1.5 years figured out the working system, and then he went back and started his business, and it was pretty successful. And he made some glazes that had never been done before, and he made a black glaze that was real exciting to Van Briggle Pottery at the time, and they paid him $500 for it in 1955 for the formula.
Oh,
and,
wow.
It was a big deal. But he used that money to move here, along with some other deals with Van Briggle Pottery, which was a huge pottery in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
And now, what led you to, growing up in that environment, did you ever want to do anything besides becoming an artist?
Oh, no, I think I always was an artist. I've always been an artist and admired the art that we were producing, and I loved it. It was a fun place to grow up.
I bet. Now, your father's also an artist, correct?
Yes, he's a production potter and an artist too at art. He's made pretty amazing pieces of pottery in his life.
Oh yeah,
taught a lot of people how to make pottery, and he managed the business for 30 years. He was the pretty much lead foreman and taught 500 people how to make pottery at our factory. We had over 20 employees in it for a 30-year period, 20 employees at any one time, and went through over 500 employees in a 10-year period.
Oh my goodness. Has it always been located in the same place in Hot Springs?
Yeah. We've expanded and built the building and built it bigger and created a lot more square footage.
Excellent. Now, have you trained? Yeah, I know you were trained with your grandfather and your father. Have you? Do you have any? Have you trained with other potters as well, or other artists as you were growing up?
I worked with Long Y for a little bit. I got to watch him. He was working for my grandfather making molds in the 90s. And I got to watch them do a lot of work. That was pretty neat. He was a master mold maker, and he taught me some of those skills a little bit. And I mostly was watching. I definitely was paying attention. And we've had a lot of different artists come through, and potters cut their teeth and go on and make a living after working for us with art and pottery, and successful.
That's wonderful. That must give you a great sense of pride to see other people learn from you and the generations of Dryden, to be able to pass that on to others and help them be successful.
There's plenty of room for more potters in this world, I think. There's not enough of us. It's a hard skill to learn. The actual throwing on the wheel is a mastery that's hard to develop. It takes many years to get very good at throwing on the potter wheel.
And I know we'll look at some images, but what makes Dryden pottery, or especially you, Zach Dryden, what makes your pottery different than other artists' pottery?
You could say we have a very unique look compared to many pottery pieces being produced out there. We have a in-house glaze formula system we've developed with clay formulas, and I've stumbled upon techniques through the years that have only come from doing it for 30 years, and it's just like happy accidents that happen, and you keep doing them.
Well, and everyone else, if you haven't been to Dryden Pottery, it is on Whittington Avenue, and the thing that I think is most unique from my unskilled eyes, from having just not being an artist, is the vibrant colors. The colors that at Dryden Pottery are unlike anything I've seen in other areas. They're just so vibrant. Are those because of the glazes, or what?
I think mostly the brilliance of the colors come because of the temperature that we're firing and maturing our pottery at. When you start to get a little bit hotter, it burns the colors away, and they're less vibrant.
Okay. Now, do you ever have pieces of pottery that you don't want to sell, that you like because they're special?
Sure, I do. I have pieces that I've pulled off and have not sold.
Or any that you regretted selling?
They're sitting in a showcase in the showroom now, and I'm not quite ready to let them go, I guess. A lot of times after a while I will sell them, but sometimes you hang on to them for a while just because you like them. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let's dive into the photos, and we'll be able to learn a little bit more about the history and see some of the vibrant colors. So I'm going to share my screen now, and let me see here. See if I can do this again. There we go. Now, who is this little guy?
Well, that's me on the right, and also me on the left, a little bit younger. I think on my right, I'm pretty young in that photo.
Oh yeah. And now, so they just gave you clay and let you get on a wheel?
Yeah, my dad would push my hands into the clay and spin it on the wheel and make me do it. But I had a good time, I think.
It looks like you're having fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
And now you have children as well, don't you?
I do. 2 boys.
Have you done the same with them?
Some, maybe not as much. We didn't have, computers and stuff back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, maybe there'll be the next generation of potters there. Okay, now, can you tell us a little bit about this photo? Who are these?
I think this was probably in the mid 60s. This was a postcard that was, I think, it was a postcard that was available. I'm not sure who the people were, but it shows the
Yeah.
operation, and he had a lot of employees working in those days. They were
Well, if you
making,
had multiple employees, you could do production so that you had,
they made the
they
same
produce a
piece.
lot of artwork.
It would be the same model over and over and over. We had a lot of people coming through the showroom too, or through the factory in those days.
Okay.
This is a part of a private collection that we have. I would call it the Gary and Joyce Craft Collection. And these are some of the nicer pieces that they had collected in a 40-year period. And they passed away not long ago, but in their collecting, they collected over 750 pieces all over the country of our pottery.
Oh my goodness. So these are pieces that they found in other areas. So people had purchased them in Hot Springs and carried them back home with them, and then they found them at sales, or?
Found these in flea markets and yard sales, estate sales, and gift shops all over the country for, they would go on family vacation, and as fun, they would search junk shops for our pottery.
And so some of these pieces in this collection are quite old. What would be the oldest piece in here? Do you know?
Oh boy. The oldest piece quite possibly would be maybe one of the little boots or
Okay.
it's really hard to say.
Oh yeah. But many things that your grandfather made.
Mostly everything inside there was from Kansas, so it's between 65 and 75 years old. Some of the pieces in there, that white buffalo right in the middle, I believe they bought on eBay for over $500 in auction.
Oh wow.
Maybe there's only one left in existence.
And so this can be seen in your showroom, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Okay. Sorry. We kind of jumped around there. Now, who is this fellow?
That's my dad, and he's making looks like 5 or 6 foot tall vase he's working on.
Wow. Now, do you have any idea where that went?
No.
That's a huge vase.
Back in this looks like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. These were ladies that worked for us doing glazing, I think. It looks like they're getting ready to do some glazing.
Probably in the 60s or 70s, maybe?
I would say probably early 70s in this one. This is a piece that we're quite well known for. We call it the Grecian urn, or Grecian pitcher. And that's the original model made out of wood. The mold was formed from that. But that was made by my grandfather's uncle, who was a master woodworker.
Oh.
He made several interesting pieces out of wood that we have. But this is the one that's probably most famous.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be honest, I have one of these pieces that I purchased as part of the 75th anniversary, and it is so unique and beautiful, and the curve, the line of it's just beautiful. Now, just most people out there probably know this, and maybe I'm the only one that doesn't. So I see you making pottery on the wheel. How do you create a vase like this, or the other intricate shapes, the buffalo and the more intricate shapes? How do you create those?
This is actually a slip cast in a plaster mold with liquid clay. So you pour the liquid clay into the mold, and after it sits for about 10 or 15 minutes, it builds up on the walls of the mold, and then you pour the center out and you're left with a shell. So after about an hour or two, you can take it out of the mold and start over. But the molds get wet.
Oh, wow. So that's what
they have to dry out in between every few pieces.
How interesting.
So a lot of the stuff my grandfather was making was made with molds.
So was this made with a mold, or was this more?
This was handmade, one of a kind, thrown on the wheel, and then clay was applied by hand. That was
And now,
made.
who are the folks in this photo?
These were the guy on the right with the short guy, that was Charles Rourke, and he was a potter for us. And on the left was Bobby Bradford, and he was a faithful employee for many, many years. He was one of the last employees that worked for us before we became much smaller, and mostly just a family business.
Right. Oh, and there's you.
There's me with a custom requested vase modeled after what is known as the world's tallest vase, but I would say it's probably not. But it's Arkansas's tallest vase.
Oh, absolutely. The colors are so pretty in that one.
And this is one of my sunset mugs. This is a technique that I've pretty much developed on my own through years of experimenting.
I love this photo with the Dryden in the background.
Thank you. That was my own doing. Some pieces that were made in Kansas. And a little sign. I painted that sign at one point.
So most of these then made with the liquid poured into the mold?
Yeah, all of those would have been slip cast. Pretty much.
Hotel.
Yeah, he did lots of engraving and personalizing for gift shops in those days.
Okay.
There's a little hot springs one.
Yeah, and absolutely. Dryden is one of those spots where lots of tourists come to visit you, don't they?
Oh, yes. It gets kind of busy at times.
Oh, there's those beautiful colors.
Some new stuff. It's not too old of a piece. I think it didn't stay around very long.
Oh, I would think not. Those colors are just so beautiful.
Yeah, it literally was on the floor for 2 days and then it was gone. Sometimes I get sad.
And now, how long did this process take, or how many different layers did it take?
I tried to do that again and I just couldn't.
Do you know who purchased it, or was it someone from out of town?
Well, I think it was somebody that's purchased several pieces from me. Somebody out of town, though.
Well, the colors are so unique and beautiful. It looks like a rainbow.
You never know when you fire a piece. The temperature in the kiln may never get exactly like it was, and you'll never combine it in that way again. It's very difficult to reproduce something like that.
So how many layers of glaze goes on top of the color goes on top of the clay
Well,
base
I'll just
created?
tell you, I have a spray guns, and I have about 8 or 10 different colors that I work with at any one point.
And I'm sorry, and I realize now that I should have shown something else really quick. We're going to take a quick break right here, Zach. And I want, because this talks a little bit about the process, I'm going to show a little clip here that gives everybody a little idea of your studio, of what your studio looks like on the inside.
Yeah.
And this video, and you can see here several other videos, can be seen on the hotspringsarts.org Facebook page. And here is Zach right here.
Third generation potter. My grandfather started this business, and we moved here in 1956. And really doing well, and we had 20 employees, and have done pretty good in the pottery realm. And we evolved into a pretty fancy art type pottery that is highly collectible and has become known worldwide. All of our glazes have been developed in-house by the foundation created with my grandfather's work, and I've expanded our color palette, and I'm trying to mix up all these colors and brighten everything. For instance, this one would first be thrown on the wheel. It's going to take not very long when you've been throwing on the wheel for 30 years. It took 30 years to get to the point to where we could throw this on the wheel in 5 minutes. And then we would let it sit for maybe 4 hours, half the day, and then it becomes leather hard. And after that, I'm going to incise it and carve into it all the different designs that you see. And after that, we would let it dry for after it's dry, we'll sponge the pottery with a wet sponge, and I'll take all the hard little pieces off and soften it up. So from there, we'll sign it, put it into the kiln, and then it will fire the first firing for 4 hours. We have to cool it off overnight, and the next day it's to be glazed. And as soon as it's glazed, you're able to put it in the kiln and fire it up to a little bit over 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. And that takes about 7.5 hours to get up to that temperature. And then after that, if everything goes well, the next day, after it's cooled, we'll open the door and we'll have a wonderful finished piece. This pottery right here has been bisque fired. It's been fired the first time. You're going to see my large old kiln that I don't use too often. And right here is the one I use regularly. Currently, it has some large vases that were just fired last night. Down there, I have pottery drying, waiting for a bisque fire. This is my main glazing area. I do lots of spraying. I'm going to take a piece like this. And just start applying a lot of different ways depending on how you put the glaze on and which order. You're going to get different results. Thanks for joining me on this tour of my art pottery factory, and I hope you'll come and see me. I'm open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 3, and I'm closed Sundays. Come on by. We're waiting to see you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, I meant to show that before, after we talked about the history, but before we the artwork, showed the pottery. So are you there still, Zach?
Yes, I am.
Okay, there we go. So that gives us a little bit better idea of how it is created too. So a little visual. That helped me when I watched it kind of know the process. Okay, now these look kind of scary.
Those
Did
are
you
some
do
jugs, yeah, whiskey jugs. I think I made all of those, yeah.
now were those thrown on the wheel or with the liquid?
Those are thrown on the wheel and
Oh
then
wow. And then and
hand altered.
oh wow, that's incredible that those can be thrown on the wheel like that. Now, so are these inspired by what inspires you to make a piece like this?
Oh wow. I don't know. I just have fun doing it. We go, and a lot of times we'll be inspired by somebody in the room with me. And say, what should I make? Oh, how about you make an ugly demon jug? I said, okay. Or maybe like the skull jugs, I had seen a picture of one of my brothers. He did a skull jug, and so I said, that might be fun. I make a few
Now,
skull jugs.
now, are your brothers here in Hot Springs also, or do they are they? Go ahead.
One of my brothers was doing the pottery for a while, but he's taken an extended break.
Okay.
I am taking up the reins and continuing the tradition.
Excellent. Oh wow, this is very intricate.
Yeah, that's a tribute to old Arkansas. And we used to have a little area known as Jugtown in Benton.
Uh-huh.
And during the days of Prohibition, they made a lot of jugs for people that were making moonshine in these hills.
Oh wow. Now this is that classic style.
This is the Grecian pitcher with my specialty glaze technique I've developed.
Now, did you do this one? Did you pour this one?
Yeah, I poured it and glazed it and did it all.
That's those colors, so vibrant.
This is a popular fish plate that I make.
And
This
now,
is
how large are the fish plates? Are they small or are they like a serving plate size?
about a 12 or 13 inches around, and it's made actually on a press. It's a press mold,
Oh, okay.
and each one is glazed by hand, so each one's a little different.
How many hours would it take you to make something like this?
Oh, these are made very fast with the press, hydraulic press that squishes them between a die, basically. It's two halves of a mold that come together and squishes the clay down. And there's air, you apply air to the mold, and it makes the clay release from the mold. And we'll put a board under it to catch the plate. So it's made relatively quick, but then it has to dry for 2 weeks.
It looks like the glazing process is more complicated though.
Yeah, but it only takes a few minutes to glaze a piece like that.
Really, it looks more complicated than that to me. But as I said, I'm not the artist, I'm the novice. And so
each piece is handled anywhere from 12 to 15 times before it goes to the floor.
Beautiful. Oh, these are fun.
Yeah, all of these are handmade, and each one is different except for the little fish on the right. That was a mold. My grandfather made that mold And the story was he carved the fish out of a piece of soap while he was waiting for my dad to be born in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
That was the story.
Out of a piece of soap?
Piece of soap, yeah. A block of soap. And he carved the fish and then he made a mold out of it.
Wow, that's quite a history. And well, interesting because these are the next iterations of that, or afterward, the fish with their mouth open to hold a scratcher, I would guess, in the kitchen.
Yeah, a lot of people use them for sponge holders and
Yeah.
catch all.
Yeah. And you still have these in the shop, don't you? The ones on the left?
Oh yeah, we do lots of the fish heads, and now I'm making cat heads and even dog heads. All
Those
kinds
would be
of
good Christmas presents.
yeah. I've hardly got any left. There's only a couple left. I have to make more. That was a nice vase. That was a pretty tall vase. I believe it was about 16 inches tall. And
Oh, wow. Now, is this one that you made?
I think my dad threw that on the wheel, and then a girl named Winnet Red, she works for me sometimes, and she carved it, and I did the glazing on it. So it is a collaboration.
Oh, absolutely. Now, does your dad still work? Does he still throw pottery?
He hasn't been making anything big like that in a while. He's retired.
That's beautiful.
He comes up sometimes, but not much lately.
These are fun.
Yeah, those are very popular name mug. We had a whole lot of orders this year for Christmas. I probably should have made the cups before. I'm working too hard now.
Yeah, stockpile the mugs so you can make the mugs in advance and then just wait to go back until you get the custom order to put the detail and glaze on.
Sure, yeah. I could make them and let them sit for years if I wanted to.
Oh, there's some more fish and mugs. Those vibrant colors again.
We have a lot of different colors to choose from.
Okay, so was this one of yours or?
Yeah, that's one of my art pieces. Actually, this was a piece that a customer of mine bought, and then they actually brought it back to me and said they wanted to keep it in the showroom so people could see it, and that maybe I should enter it in a contest, she told me. So may have to go to an art contest.
It's beautiful. And now, can you tell us the process of making this?
Well, it's hand built and wheel thrown. The body is a triangular body that was made with slabs, and then it's all stuck together. And then I threw the neck on the wheel and attached it to it, and cut little triangles and stuck them all over it, and carved away some of the clay. And it's in the showroom available to look at if you want to come see it.
Well, it's beautiful. The colors, the shape, it's just so unique. I've never seen one like this before. Is this one that you regretted selling when she purchased it? Did you put a lot of your soul into this one?
That would probably be one that I would regret a little bit selling.
Well, it's nice that you brought it back so you can enjoy it.
It's true. Some more of our colorful mugs. That's a large apple bowl.
So is it like a bowl like this? Is this poured or thrown on the wheel?
That's one of the press molded pieces.
Press mold. Okay.
Yeah. There's my bathtub soap dishes. These are real popular.
Oh yeah, those are cool. Now, when have those always been part of the Dryden collection, or is this something that is a more recent addition?
Unbelievably, these are fairly recent.
Really?
I don't think we ever really made any bathtubs in all of our years in Hot Springs. And
Well,
suddenly it
especially with
occurred.
all of
Yeah,
the other fun shapes.
Suddenly it occurred to me we never made a little bathtub. So I said, I got to do it. And I made the press mold, and we pressed these out, and I even logo people's businesses on them and stamp their logos into them and sell thousands of them to companies.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is this? It looks
Well,
like a COVID.
that's the COVID cup.
It's a COVID.
COVID cup. I called it the COVID vessel. And I made that and did a auction. We auctioned it off and donated the proceeds to the Jackson House.
Wonderful.
On Facebook. I think we got over $200 and something for it.
Well, that is certainly unique.
Yeah, I made a few of them. People were excited about them.
Well, I guess art can inspire, or art can be inspiration for art can come from all sorts of areas.
Those were very time consuming to make. It took a lot of time.
How did you create that? Can you tell us a little bit about the process?
Well, I threw the body on the wheel like a cup, and then I made each individual little knob and stuck it on there with like a liquid clay as a glue. It's called slip.
Mm-hmm.
And then each one of those is, push the end of it in, and it's a lot of work because afterwards you have to clean it all up and sponge it, and then glazing it was a lot of work also.
Oh, I can't imagine, because the black glaze, it's the differentiation of the color. It seems like it would be difficult in the little crevices like that.
You have to clean it off. The black, first I glazed it solid black, and then I took places off that I didn't want the black, and then put red over that.
Oh, okay.
It's a process.
Oh yeah, this looks incredibly detailed. That was very kind of you to auction it off for Jackson House.
Well, we were continuing having business through COVID, and that was pretty good. So
Right. Oh, absolutely.
we were pretty lucky, I think. It's a nice vase with good, pretty carving of flowers. I think that's dogwood.
I was trying to say that looks like a dogwood.
Yeah. These are one of a kind, hand carved. That's a hand carved rose I did.
Oh, that's beautiful. A yellow rose.
Here's one of my new techniques I've been working on with applying a really soft clay to my vessel and then altering it.
That looks beautiful.
Fairly time consuming.
Well, it looks like leaves going up the side of the vase. That's beautiful. And then that'd be a beautiful vase with flowers coming out the top of it.
I should make another one.
Yeah.
These are some spoon rests. Those are made in our press.
But the way you do the glaze, it's just so beautiful, the way the color fades from one to the other. Wow.
This is a new piece.
Okay, now how do you have to go back and remove areas of color?
Well, I can't divulge into this technique too
Oh,
much.
okay. Well, okay. Well, I don't want to get any secrets out of you. It's certainly beautiful in the.
This is one of the things you will not find anywhere else in the world. I guarantee it.
Well, I've never seen anything like it. It's beautiful. That is just the. Okay, and I think that is the last slide. We kind of went out of order a little bit. I'm going to stop sharing now.
I think some of my pictures might not have come through. No. It's all right.
Oh, really? Maybe.
That's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It might have been a funny.
I thought I captured all of it.
Well, you never know with technology.
I know. I'm sorry. I can go back and look and see. Was there one in particular that you had wanted to show?
No. It's no.
Okay, because I can go back and look on my email again. So can you tell us a little bit about what we could expect during well, you'll be open for gallery walk on Friday, correct?
Yes.
And now will you be what all will you have going on during gallery walk? Will you be creating pottery, or what will happen?
We always, have the showroom open with all of our newest pieces out for display, and sometimes if I'm feeling up to it after working all day, I will bring my wheel out and do some throwing in the showroom. I'm not so sure I'm going to do that this time because I've been so busy with all the Christmas orders. It's unbelievable.
But even with your Christmas pre-orders, are there still items in the showroom that if someone came that they could purchase and take with them?
Oh yeah, we got lots of bowls and cups and a lot of vases and a lot of pottery still in the showroom.
And now, what is your price range? I mean, your least expensive small vessel, a small item, all the way up your.
I think we start at about $10. So we may find some things that are $8, but mostly about 10 to 20, and then on up 30s and 40s. And I have pieces that are several hundreds of dollars and even into the thousands. But it just depends on what you're looking for.
Well, there's absolutely something
It's
in all
something
price
for everybody, I think. I try to have all kinds of stuff available. Little miniature vases and Arkansas shaped trays and little small glasses. But it is.
Well, and I think that's one thing that's really special about Dryden pottery. There's such a wide variety of colors and subject matter that's depicted on them, or more traditional vases and bowls, and then all different price ranges too, especially with Christmas or birthdays. And I think last year, maybe it was my birthday or Mother's Day, even I had commented on something, and Zach created it and then reached out to my husband. So I had a really special birthday or Mother's Day gift that was created exactly the color I wanted in exactly the shape I wanted. So you certainly do commissions as well.
Yes, I had fun making that for you.
Well, it's beautiful and prominently displayed in my china hutch upstairs. So thank you. It's beautiful.
You're welcome.
And do you still have some of the older pieces that you did at that time? Do you have some of the things that were your grandfather's or your father's?
Yes, I have a lot of it actually for sale from the collection of the couple that, like, when they passed away, their children didn't know what to do with 700 pieces. So we still have probably couple hundred of them for sale, and they're approximately 70 years old. And yeah, there's a bunch of it.
Excellent. Well, so I would just encourage, now what are the hours of your gallery? When are you normally open?
Our regular hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 to 3. And I offer demonstrations in the mornings, guaranteed, from 10 to 11, and often by request.
Wonderful. So if people have family in town for the holidays, that would be a great Hot Springs attraction too, to be able to stop by and see a family of artists that have been there for 75 years or been creating artwork for 75 years and still doing it 6 days a week here in Hot Springs. And for people who are Christmas shopping, certainly a time to pick up everything from a stocking stuffer to a much larger gift, maybe lots of much larger gifts, huh, Zach?
It's there.
Now, is there anything that I didn't ask you or that you wanted to share about either Dryden, the family, or yourself and the artwork that you create?
Well, I can't think of anything, to tell you the truth.
Is there any question that you always get when people come into the shop and visit with you?
Well, let me think. What's the question everybody always asks? Say, do you make this here?
For a long time.
Yeah, we make it right here in the back. And they say, did you make it? And I say, yes, I make it. And I say, would you like to watch? Come on back.
That's incredible.
We like to have fun around the pottery. We like to be welcoming to our customers, and we're, you know.
Well, wonderful.
Hope that it shows in our work that we enjoy it.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you for being on here with us tonight. And I just want to encourage everybody who's watching this, whether it's gallery walk or any other time during Christmas or for any other holiday or just when you're in downtown Hot Springs, if you haven't driven up Whittington Avenue to Dryden Pottery, I just really encourage everybody out there to do that, whether you're watching this evening live or you're catching it later on. A lot of times we'll just have a lot fewer people viewing live, but then several hundred watch it during the coming weeks. So, and the nice part about this interview, it's part of our art history here in Hot Springs. So it will be available on YouTube and on Facebook for forever. So thank you very much, Zach. And Paul, did we have any questions this evening?
Well, it was a shy audience tonight, but I know we had a good number of viewers throughout the program on Facebook and YouTube. So appreciate everyone for watching. And like Mary said, if you tuned in late, it is available to view indefinitely going forward. And please do share it with your friends and on your news feeds and newsletters if you're part of some kind of club or organization. We really appreciate those views, and I know Mr. Dryden here and all of the other artists we've had appreciate your patronage in business and support as well. So Mary, do you want to give them a preview of January, or are we not ready to reveal that yet?
No, that's fine. January, I'll be visiting with Richard Stevens, Hot Springs watercolor artist Richard Stevens. So he'll be the guest in January, and his artwork can be found in Esther's Gallery. So if anybody out there is a Richard Stevens fan, they can see his artwork, and he'll be at Gallery Walk. And but just his work can be found at Esther's Gallery on Broadway.
Excellent. All right, Zach, do you have anything else before we go?
No, thank you for having me on. I'm about ready to go lay down and have a rest. I worked all day long.
Well, thanks so much. After a long day, to still spend an hour with us. So thank you very much. We appreciate it, Zach.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a good night, and see you next year for this particular series. Everyone, take care. Have happy holidays. Happy New Year. See you later.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.